The film begins with a quiet opening, a shot of three individuals, an Asian woman flanked by two men, one Asian like her, and the other Western. The camera slowly approaches the trio as we hear a dialogue between two voices behind the camera, playing a guessing game about the relationship that binds the three. Through this voyeuristic glimpse, we enter the lives of the three protagonists. Director and film writer Celine Song narrates the story in a relatively simple narrative with three temporal leaps. After the mentioned opening scene, she takes us back in time to Seoul, Korea, 24 years ago, when the protagonist, Na Young, spent her childhood with her close friend and schoolmate, Hae Sung. They shared an innocent childhood love, with Na Young even telling her mother that she plans to marry him when she grows up. However, this sweet tale is abruptly cut short as the girl and her family migrate to Canada, losing contact with her friend. The second temporal leap occurs after 12 years, revealing the grown-up girl now bearing a Western name, Nora, as a means to integrate into her new community. Nora, now a promising playwright, coincidentally remembers her childhood friend, and, for amusement, searches for names of old friends and acquaintances from Korea. To her surprise, she finds a post about him on Facebook looking for her as well. The two friends reconnect after 12 years, with Hae Sung now an engineering student still living with his family in Seoul. We observe how they regain their friendship, and the innocent romantic connection between them seems to re-establish a form of communication between Nora and her roots. She laughs when he comments on her Korean language skills, having abandoned her native language, speaking it only with him and her mother. They enjoy the early stages of their relationship, longing, anticipation, and lengthy Skype calls. The director explores how technology connects us, but over time, the longing fades, replaced by the need for actual meetings. The challenges of time zone differences, communication problems, and network issues turn technology into an obstacle. Nora, appearing practical and ambitious from the start, having told her childhood friends she would leave Korea to win a Nobel Prize, decides to end a relationship she deems without a real future. Neither of them wants to relocate to be with the other anytime soon. She changes her residence for artistic reasons and meets her future husband, Arthur. The third temporal leap occurs another 12 years later. Nora now lives in New York with her husband. Hae Sung informs her that he's coming to New York and wishes to see her. The two friends finally meet after a full 24 years since their last actual encounter. What unfolds during this reunion? What if Nora hadn't migrated? Would their love story have taken a different turn? Inyun, or in Korean, Inyun, is a concept derived from Buddhism that Nora discusses in one of her early encounters with her future American husband. Nora describes Inyun as a concept similar to destiny, indicating that any meeting, even if fleeting, between two individuals is the result of other interactions in their past lives. If two people marry, it means there are approximately 8,000 layers of Inyun between them, according to her explanation. When asked about her belief in this concept, she responds that it's used in Korea as a seduction tactic, which proves effective as the scene concludes with a long kiss between them. Echoes of this concept resonate throughout various scenes in the film, especially in her relationship with her old Korean lover. While it may be destined for them to meet and fall in love, Nora's realistic and practical choices won't make her abandon her life with her husband, contrary to what often happens in traditional romantic love stories. The film presents a love triangle that doesn't follow the conventional path in romantic tales. Arthur expresses his fears in a satirical manner, stating that in stories like theirs, the American spouse is considered the villain standing against destiny. However, in reality, he is not a villain. He is a loving and supportive husband, close to her family, attempting to assimilate by enjoying traditional Korean foods and trying to learn her native language. Yet, he remains fearful that their story might not be romantic enough compared to the childhood love that resurfaces from the past. Arthur wonders if it's possible for her to leave her life with him to run away with her childhood love. She sarcastically smiles and responds that she won't miss her rehearsals for a man. Nora is a practical, strong woman with clear career goals, unwilling to sacrifice them for a fleeting romantic dream. Behind the romantic story of the childhood sweetheart's return, there is a profound exploration of identity confusion in the second generation of immigrants. The relationship between Nora and Hae Sung is not just a potential love affair, but a delicate web of connections to the little girl she left behind in her interrupted childhood path in Seoul. Hae Sung is the only one who calls her by her Korean name, a name her mother stopped using. He is not merely a childhood love. He symbolizes all the life possibilities she left behind when forced to migrate from her homeland. When Nora's mother asked Hae Sung's mother about the reason for their migration, she replied that you have to sacrifice things to gain others. Nora gained a promising professional life in exile and a successful relationship with a supportive and loving husband, but she will never know what she lost in her homeland. If she had continued her love story with Hae Sung, would the narrative have retained its charm, or is the grass just greener on the distant, unexplored front? However, Nora has no intention of reclaiming the past, getting preoccupied with it, or allowing it to spoil her current choices. Her recent encounter with Hae Sung serves as a farewell and a means to allow departure, an appropriate farewell that the two children who parted without a proper goodbye did not have. This enables each of them to move forward. You dream in a language I don't understand, Arthur tells her, reflecting his desire to connect with this aspect of her personality, the part still tied to her homeland despite attempts to adapt to the new one. Celine Song shares much in common with her protagonist Nora, having migrated from Korea with her family at the age of 12 to Canada, and later moved to the United States in her 20s, where she met her husband, the writer Justin Kuritzkis. Having written and directed several promising works for the stage and television, Past Lives is her debut feature film, drawing on a part of her personal life in its storytelling. She adeptly presents an elegant and straightforward visual language using 35mm film, harnessing the possibilities of cinema without confining herself to the technical frameworks of theatre and television drama that she's accustomed to working in. Song leveraged her experience in writing for the stage and television in crafting the film. Debut films by playwrights often suffer from extended dialogues, but Celine Song succeeded in balancing spoken dialogue with silent moments that conveyed characters' emotions through close-up shots focused on their faces. She avoided indulging in lengthy or profound dialogues, except for the scenes between the couple, Nora and Arthur, justifiable as both are involved in creative writing. In this context, cinematographer Shabir Kirchner successfully provided close-up shots of the protagonists' faces, sometimes serving as alternatives to spoken dialogue. The writer chose to emphasize specific dimensions of the characters. While Nora's personality shines through, we don't learn much about Hae Sung's character, as if there are no other dimensions to his life outside his emotional connection with Nora. While we catch glimpses of the childhood past of Hae Sung and Nora, Arthur suddenly appears in her life, with no visibility of his family or past. The past is in Korea, the abandoned homeland, while the present, despite its strong presence, remains rootless. In a symbolic scene, while she is asleep, Arthur appears for the first time in the open window behind her, as if closer to a dream, as described by the director in one of the interviews. The director also incorporated references to other films that explored the relationship with time and memory. We see a poster for the film Celine and Julie Go Boating on the wall of Nora's father's office. Additionally, Nora invokes the movie Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind in her conversation with Hae Sung, and in the next scene, he is shown watching a clip from it. The journey of Hae Sung and Nora through the streets of New York after their reunion reminds us of the famous tricycle scenes from Richard Linklater's trilogy. The film relies on a direct linear narrative with a relatively slow pace, despite covering more than 2 decades in less than 2 hours. appearing to mourn all the infinite possibilities of other paths that could have been taken.